Your partner could be lying to your face right now, and your brain is actually programmed to help them get away with it. And the scarier part? The more they lie, the better they get at it. Let me explain. So here's something that nobody talks about. You know how everyone says, trust your gut, or you'll just know when something's off? Yeah, that's complete garbage. Because science has proven that when it comes to the people we love, our brains are basically running on a system that's designed to be fooled. And today I'm going to show you exactly how this works, why you've probably been lied to without even knowing it, and what's actually happening inside a liar's brain that makes them so good at it. Look, we've all heard the advice. Watch for the signs. Look for nervousness. Check if they're sweating or if their voice cracks. If they avoid eye contact, they're lying. If they touch their face, they're lying. But here's the problem with all of that advice. It's based on the idea that lying is hard and stressful for everyone all the time. And that's just not true. Let me tell you about something called the lying muscle. Yeah, you heard that right. Scientists put people in brain scanners, those big MRI machines, and told them to lie. And what they found was wild. When someone tells their first big lie, their brain lights up like a Christmas tree. Specifically, the front part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, goes into overdrive. This is the part that handles decision-making, planning, and dealing with conflict. So yeah, the first time someone lies to you, it's actually hard work for their brain. But here's where it gets messed up. The more someone lies, the less their brain has to work. Think about it like going to the gym. The first time you lift weights, everything hurts. You're shaking, you're struggling. But after a few weeks, those same weights feel light. Your muscles adapted. The exact same thing happens with lying. After someone tells the same lie 10 times, 20 times, 50 times, their brain stops treating it like a lie. It becomes automatic, a script. A story they've memorized so well that their body doesn't even react anymore. So all those signs of lying you've been taught to look for, the sweating, the nervousness, the stuttering, those disappear. A practiced liar can look you dead in the eye, hold your hand, tell you they love you, and lie without a single physical tell. Because to their brain, it's not even lying anymore. It's just talking. And this is why people always say, "I never saw it coming," or "there were no signs," after they discover their partner's affair or secret life. It's not because they weren't paying attention. It's because the liar's brain had already adapted. The lie became their truth. Now let's talk about something even more disturbing. There's this hormone in your body called oxytocin. You've probably heard of it. People call it the love hormone or the cuddle hormone. It's what makes you feel bonded to someone. It's released when you hug, when you kiss, when you have sex, even when you just spend quality time together. It's literally the chemical that makes you feel close to your partner. But oxytocin has a dark side that almost nobody knows about. And this is going to sound backwards, but stay with me. Scientists discovered that oxytocin doesn't just make you trust and bond with people. It also makes you more willing to lie to protect that bond. Here's how it works. Let's say someone is having an affair. When they're with their affair partner, they might feel guilty. They know they're risking their primary relationship. And that guilt? It actually triggers an oxytocin response tied to their main partner. Their brain goes into protection mode. Not protection of the truth, protection of the relationship. So oxytocin, the same chemical that makes them love you, also gives them the chemical courage to lie to you. This is what researchers call the oxytocin paradox. The hormone that bonds you together is the same hormone that helps them deceive you. They're not lying despite loving you. In some twisted way, their brain is telling them they're lying because they love you. They're protecting the relationship from the consequences of their actions. Obviously, that logic is completely messed up, but that's what's happening in their brain chemistry. And this explains why people can do horrible things and still say, "I love you," and mean it. Why someone can betray you and genuinely believe they're a good partner. Because their brain has literally created a chemical justification for the deception. The oxytocin is rewarding them for lying. It's making the lie feel like an act of love. But wait, it gets worse. Because it's not just about the liar's brain. Your brain is sabotaging you too. And this is the part that's going to make you angry, but you need to hear it. There's this psychological theory called truth default theory. It was created by a researcher named Timothy Levine, and it explains why we're so bad at catching liars. The basic idea is this. Our brains are set to believe mode by default. When someone tells us something, our first instinct is to accept it as true. We don't automatically question everything we hear, because that would be exhausting. Imagine if every time someone said, "Good morning," you had to stop and think, are they lying? Is it actually a good morning? What's their angle here? You'd lose your mind. So our brains take shortcuts. We assume people are telling the truth, unless we have a really strong reason to think otherwise. And this works fine most of the time, when you're dealing with strangers or casual friends. But in a relationship, this truth default goes into overdrive. Because here's the thing. To suspect your partner of lying is not just questioning one statement. It's questioning the entire foundation of your relationship. If you start thinking, maybe they're lying about working late, you're also saying, maybe they've lied before, and maybe I don't actually know this person, and maybe everything I believe about us is wrong. That's terrifying. That's relationship suicide. So your brain protects you from that terror by making you not want to look too closely. This is why people ignore red flags. Not because they're stupid or naive, but because their brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. It's protecting them from the emotional chaos of doubting the person they love. Your truth default in a relationship is turned up so high that you will unconsciously dismiss, rationalize, and explain away evidence of deception. Let me give you an example. Your partner comes home late. Again, they smell different. Their story doesn't quite add up with something they said yesterday. You feel a little ping of suspicion. But then what happens? Your brain immediately jumps in. They're just stressed at work. I'm being paranoid. They'd never do that to me. I'm a good partner. They have no reason to cheat. I'm overthinking this. And just like that, the suspicion is gone. You've talked yourself out of it. But here's the really messed up part. You didn't talk yourself out of it. Your brain did it automatically, below your conscious awareness. Because entertaining the possibility that your partner is lying is too psychologically expensive. It threatens your sense of safety, your future plans, your identity as someone in a good relationship. So your brain just deletes the threat. And there's another layer to this. It's called the good guy contract. This is a term from a therapist named Susan Forward, and it's one of the most powerful concepts you'll ever hear about relationships. The good guy contract is an unspoken agreement that happens in every relationship. It goes like this. You agree to see your partner as a good, trustworthy, moral person. And they agree to see you the same way. Neither of you says this out loud. You don't sign anything, but it's there. And once that contract is in place, both of you will bend over backwards to maintain it. Here's why this matters. When your partner does something that contradicts the good guy contract, like lying or cheating or hiding something major, your brain has two options. Option 1 is to break the contract, to say, "You're not who I thought you were. You're not a good person." But that's devastating. That means you were wrong about them. That means you have to blow up your life. That means the relationship might end. Option 2 is to keep the contract intact by rewriting reality. And this is what most people do. You explain away the behavior. You make excuses for them. You tell yourself stories. They were drunk. It didn't mean anything. They're going through a hard time. Everyone makes mistakes. You do mental gymnastics to preserve your image of them as fundamentally good. And here's the really insidious part. The liar knows this. Maybe not consciously, but they know it. They know that you're invested in seeing them as good, so they can exploit that. They can rely on the fact that you will work hard to not believe they're lying. You become a partner in your own deception. You are helping them get away with it because accepting the truth is too painful. This is why people can live double lives for years. Entire secret families, hidden addictions, affairs that last for decades. Because the person being lied to is unconsciously cooperating with the lie to avoid breaking the good guy contract. Now, let's talk about what happens in the liar's mind. Because you might be thinking, okay, but don't they feel guilty? Don't they feel bad? And the answer is yes and no. There's this thing called cognitive dissonance. It's when you hold two conflicting beliefs at the same time, and your brain hates it. It creates this mental discomfort that has to be resolved. So when someone is lying to their partner, they have this conflict. I'm a good person versus I'm doing a bad thing. And their brain can't handle both being true. So what happens? They don't just live with the guilt. They resolve the dissonance by changing their story. And they do it in some pretty predictable ways. First, they reframe you as the villain. This is super common. Suddenly, you're too controlling, too needy, too cold, too something. They build a narrative where they're actually the victim, and you drove them to this. I wouldn't have cheated if you paid more attention to me. I had to hide my spending because you're so controlling about money. They genuinely start to believe this story. It's not an act. Their brain has rewritten history to make them the good guy. Second, they minimize what they did. It's just texting. It's not like I actually cheated. I only lied about small things. It wasn't that serious. They shrink the betrayal in their mind until it feels manageable, until it feels like something a good person might do. Third, and this is the wildest one, they create an entire alternative narrative where they're the hero. Maybe they're protecting you from pain by not telling you. Maybe they're sacrificing their own happiness by staying with you. Maybe they're doing you a favor. The story gets so elaborate and so deeply believed that they can pass a lie detector test. Because on some level, they've convinced themselves that their version is the truth. So let's put all of this together, because this is where it gets really dark. You have a partner who's lying. Their brain has adapted to make lying easy. Oxytocin is rewarding them chemically for protecting the relationship through deception. They've resolved their guilt by rewriting reality, so they're the good guy. or the victim. And on your side, your brain is in truth default mode. You're unconsciously invested in the good guy contract. You're dismissing red flags to protect yourself from emotional chaos. You're looking for signs of lying that don't exist anymore because they've practiced the lie so many times. This is what researchers call the deception gap. It's the space between what's really happening and what you're able to see. And that gap exists not because you're dumb or blind, but because human psychology has created the perfect conditions for deception to thrive. The person lying has every biological and psychological advantage. Their brain is helping them. Your brain is helping them. The relationship structure itself is helping them. This is why the statistics are so grim. Studies show that people are only about 50% accurate at detecting lies in general. That's a coin flip. But when it comes to intimate partners, that accuracy drops even lower. Some studies put it at around 30%. You're literally better off guessing randomly. And this explains so much. It explains why people say, "I had no idea," when the truth comes out. It explains why friends and family are often the first to suspect something before the partner does. It explains why people feel so stupid or blind after discovering a betrayal, when really, they were just being human. Look, I'm not telling you this to make you paranoid. I'm not saying you should suspect your partner of lying right now or interrogate them when they get home. That's not the point. The point is understanding how this works so you can protect yourself better. Because once you know about the truth default, you can consciously override it when something genuinely feels off. Once you know about the good guy contract, you can recognize when you're making excuses for inexcusable behavior. Once you know that practiced liars don't show physical signs of lying, you stop relying on those tells and start paying attention to patterns and inconsistencies in their story instead. The most important thing is this: if you ever get that gut feeling that something is wrong, don't let your brain talk you out of it immediately. Sit with it. Write down what's bothering you. Look for patterns over time, not just single incidents. Because your intuition might be picking up on things your conscious mind is dismissing. And if you're ever in a situation where you discover you've been lied to, remember this: it wasn't because you were stupid. It wasn't because you should have known better. It was because your brain and their brain were running programs designed millions of years ago. Programs that don't work well in modern relationships. You were biologically set up to miss the lies. And knowing that doesn't make the pain less, but maybe it makes the shame less. If this video messed with your head, the next one's going to blow your mind. Because we're talking about the digital secrets your partner could be hiding right now.